That is Klothos Temple, and that is Muggins Peak. So there we go. It's funny to think that I'll be on top of that in like less than an hour probably. So let's get it. All right, so I've branched off the trail. You know, I've only gone a third of a mile or something, less than half. The trail goes somewhere all the way around. But I am heading straight up. All right, 5 minutes later, we've just come up some of these little hills. Very rocky, rugged terrain. You know, real rough rocks. That's why I wanted these shoes. So we got to get up in this thing. I think I'm gonna stay in the drainage proper. Yeah, so you can see it looks like it starts to get quite cliffy, but I think if we just stay in the drainage, it could be the left, but I think I want to stay in the main drainage. All right, things have steepened up. It's very loose. So I think this is the class 3+ move right here to get up into the gully. So I think I'm gonna go up over here. But yeah, actually not completely trivial. Maybe I should step up here. This rock could all be loose. So that's my only concern at this point. I mean, I'm not falling anywhere. All right. Step down. Now let's step up. Okay. Question is, where to now? I'm thinking we want to be over there and get up on these blocks. Yeah, this is going to be a massive dry fall. So the thing I'll be trying to remember. This actually looks like a very faint use path for what it's worth. Yeah, so I'm going to get up. So climb up the right side of this little dry fall. Then you'll see what looks sort of like the natural way up. Oh, look, there are cairns right there. So I'm glad my intuition is going towards cairns, but it's obvious this would be the one place you could get up when you're faced with this type of terrain. So super steep, class 2, but nothing too crazy, at least not yet. Show you a little bit more. I think it'll flatten out a little bit. Get this little cave. Ooh. So, yeah, let's just pop up. There's a cairn here. Maybe right here. So they're two little cave-type structures. Some more. Don't appear to be any animals. Cairn. Whew. All right. So now you can see that we look a lot closer and a lot higher, even though we just, 200-300 feet more. So I'm just gonna go straight that way. I'll look for that cairn on the way down. All right, so I've hit another cliff band. I almost climbed up to the left, but I wasn't sure if I'd hit a cliff. And I think you could probably wrap around up there, but this looks pretty easy to climb up. Like easy class 4. You could even call it class 3. So I think crumbly rock, not good. I think I'm just gonna step up here. Should be fine. Let's make sure my holds. We might go down a different way, but for now, I think this is gonna be fine. Yeah, this probably isn't the easiest way up. Some of this is pretty loose, so I need to be careful here. That's solid. Okay. I'm almost up this little section here. See, look at that. It's very loose. So is potentially that. So when in doubt, don't pull on it. Like try to bear on it, if that makes sense. So we're getting up there. Yeah, so here we hit this amphitheater. So I gotta decide. I could go straight up, might be sketch. I could climb up to the right. That actually looks pretty promising up on top of this dry fall. I like the right more than the left. So I think I'm gonna go for that. But we might have had to climb up somewhere further down. I'm just not sure. The beta's not super clear, which it doesn't need to be. I mean, part of it's figuring stuff out yourself. Yeah, so this is, I'm just gonna keep going up and then sort of walk up this rib, I think. And getting down, I'm gonna have to be a little more careful. The stuff like this is harder going down. But this is like pretty easy class 4, I would say. Yeah, let's just cut left then. So you always want to be good. 3 points of contact, you know the rule. And I try not to put all my weight ever, or I try to distribute my weight on holds. So I'm not putting as much force in case one wants to break under a certain load. So yeah, I just got up above this amphitheater. Things are starting to look pretty similar. Ugh. That wasn't, I'm not falling anywhere, I just slipped. We've reached right above that amphitheater is the saddle. So there's the lower east peak, which apparently has some sketchy stuff where it gets vertical. But the higher peak is up there. So Stav actually said he wasn't on the ridge proper, he was below it and then cut up. So I think, yeah, rather than go up and over all these ridge pinnacles, which might involve some exposure, I'm gonna walk around to that gully and then bend up. I gain the ridge pretty easily. There's some exposure on our right, but this seems like just some basic class 3. Again, just watch. A lot of this rock is very loose. So just want to be a little careful here. And a little ridgy. All right. Getting closer. There's a knife edge up at the top, I know that. I don't think we're there yet. I think the summit's over there. Might as well just take you all the way. Ideally, I wouldn't be this. Oh yeah. All right, so fall summit. Can't really fall anywhere here. Whew. All right. Muggins Peak. And I have a call. Spam. All right, Muggins Peak. Whew. Couple sections. not too bad, but you do have to take care. And there's Klothos Temple that I did, whatever, 4 months ago or something. If you haven't checked out that video, that one's higher and much longer, more route finding. This one's more basic, although not trivial by any means. So I believe you're seeing the Kofa Mountains there. No, I think it's over there actually. No, that's completely wrong. I think those are the Kofa Mountains, which Castle Dome I still have to hit. So anyway, that took 48 minutes. So not bad. It'll be, well actually it'll probably be the same amount of time going down. Sometimes this stuff takes longer, so I will be under 2 hours, so that's good. Hour and a half maybe. So I'm gonna take some pictures and then be careful getting down, because there are a couple little climbing sections that I need to take care of. So I was just showing you some of the down climbing, although I waited too long. So this is the first section up on the ridge. Gotta be careful with my holds here. Get my feet around. Good hold. Being very careful. I mean, this isn't too bad, but when the rock like this has all these loose pieces, your feet can slip out from right under you. So I'd rather it be big boulders than I feel stable, at least, even if it's more technical by the book. So we are down here. We'll bend right then to avoid some of the gnarly terrain on the ridge. Then we'll get back to the saddle. And honestly, now that I'm looking at it from below, you could just climb off this thing. I would just stay on the ridge and not save the time on the bypass. Looks like there's great rock, great holds, no big drop off. So I think it'd be easy to step down. I don't know why I didn't study that more when I was actually down here. But anyway, we're back down to the notch safely. But unfortunately, we still have the hardest part in front of us coming up right over the edge here. So yeah, so this is a fairly big drop off, 40 feet, right? 30 feet maybe. So I'm skirting around it, and this, which I don't know if this is the best way up and down. There's probably other ways. So far so good, but now the steps get a little more treacherous. I'm gonna climb down. You know what? I wonder if it's easier to step down right here. It actually might be than right there. So I'm actually gonna go over here, and I think I went up that crack. But yeah, this is a little less steep, and the steps are a little wider. So yeah, I went up right there. But this is wide enough where I don't have to turn around. So again, I like to, so if for some reason I were to slip, I can see like where to put my hand, where to put my feet. If you're backwards and you fall, well, as yes, you're tighter to the rock, and technically there's probably a lesser chance you would slip off. If you do slip, I feel like you're screwed, because you can't see where you're landing, you can't see how far you're falling. It'd be terrifying. And you'd probably end up hurting something, because you would hit an ankle weird or hit something weird because you wouldn't know when you were gonna hit rock. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I'll walk right here. Is this the best way? I don't know. Steppy enough for me though, although it's getting a little more challenging right here. All right, pretty much down safe. Stupid bee is all over me. Again, all sorts of ways to step down here. Am I taking the best way? Probably not, but I feel safe enough with what I'm doing. Yeah. Alright, just get me down. Alright. So now it's gonna be slippy. there's a big amphitheater, as you can see. I mean, you could down climb that in theory, but probably a little more challenging. So now I just got a bunch of loose terrain. I'll hit some other class 3 sections, but we just hit probably the hardest crux move. So yeah, I got a cairn here, so that's a good sign. But even without it, I knew I was cutting right at this thing. I sort of took a mental picture of it. I actually took a physical picture of it and pointed my finger to it. That's always a good rule of thumb. If you're going up something, always look back to try to remember, because it looks completely different going the other way, remember, especially when you're off trail. So a lot of times I'll take pictures looking back and I'll point my finger like places to turn and whatnot, and it has really saved me a couple times from going the wrong way. So just, this is what I'm talking about. It's not very fun, but I'm going straight down here. So here's a good example. I came up here, I saw these vertical cliffs. I climbed up right here, but on the way down, it looked a little too vertical, so I just came down this little side drainage, and it was much easier to step down. So sometimes you go up and down different ways. Usually going up, you'll go steeper, or it's easier, you know, for the class 3, 4, 5 stuff. So anyway, so you got to be able to read the terrain and just figure stuff out. I hate this type of terrain. All right, so now we've reached what was the first sort of climbing section, or I mean really not climbing, like class 3 to 4, and I stepped over here. It was just, it's slightly exposed, so you want to make sure your holds are good. Holds are good. Multiple holds in case your foot slips. And all right, down. So you can see it's starting to open up now. We just unfortunately have a bunch of steep, loose crap. So we've been spit out into the big river delta that is this massive drainage between the two Muggins Peaks. So unless you have a map sometimes, and I actually, funny thing is, on the way back from Klothos, I went into the wrong drainage and then had to climb up over a hill, if you've watched that video, because I wasn't paying attention to the map. And honestly, I'm not paying attention to the map right now because I think I know where I'm aiming for. But it could be that drainage over there and not this one. I mean, they're gonna go together. All right, so I did have to go to the right back there, not in between those hills, and I've regained the main loop trail. So this wash is gonna feed into another wash. We're gonna take that combined wash back to the car, so less than a half mile to the car. Glad to be back on trail, so we'll be back in 5 minutes or so. We got a little 30-40 foot hill at the end, and now I'm the only car here. So that's about an hour 35. Not bad, I guess. 3.1 miles with about 1,300 foot of gain. A little bit of class 3 to 4 stuff, 3 or 4 different sections. There it is. That's where we just were. Muggins Peak. See you on the next one.